Hi, if you're new here, I'm Essie, and I'm really excited to make this video today because I feel like it's such an important topic for people of all ages, from all walks of life, for everyone. And it's something that I feel is an ongoing thing. I used to think self-love meant being confident in who you are, looking in the mirror and thinking, yeah, I like what I see, but that's not the entirety of it. I realized that, and it's definitely not a feeling that you unlock. It's a kind of relationship that you build. And over the past few years, I've been really consciously trying to rebuild mine, rebuilding my relationship with myself. And I feel there are a few things that have really, really stuck with me, a few mindset shifts that I could pull up at any time. If you ask me, how did you rebuild your relationship with yourself? If anyone wants to ask that question, I don't know who to ask that. But me asking myself, how did I do that? Because I've come a long way. I can speak for myself. I used to be so just like a turtle in terms of confidence. And I feel I've really opened up. And it's due to these mindset shifts, these 7 things that I've been constantly doing, or once I've done them, they become easier. And they've definitely changed the way that I move through the world and the way that I see myself, the way that I get things done, the way that I feel about myself. So they've changed me overall. Okay, the first thing seems quite obvious, but it's something I think people struggle with. I definitely struggled with this. And it's making peace with your past and things you can't change. So, for example, we all can't choose where we're born. We can't choose, sorry. We can't choose who we're born to. We can't choose what race we are. We can't choose what neighborhood we're born into. All of these things are just a kind of a matter of luck, right? So we're dealt our cards as souls in the universe, and here we are on this earth. So there are a few things we can't change, and we have to really face those things and accept them. So acceptance of the things that we can't change really lifts a weight off of your shoulders in terms of how you see yourself and the pressure that you put onto yourself, um, due to the way that you see yourself because of your past. So, for example, if a person grew up in Asia, as an Asian, and they always watch Western TV, they're going to grow preferences that lean towards wanting to look like what they see on Western TV, right? And that can be so toxic because they then have this warped vision of themselves that just isn't fair. So they have less confidence in themselves. They don't feel like they are beautiful or that they should be confident. And that's just one example, a very simple example. I'm sure if you think about your own life, you can identify some things that maybe you've had to level with. Uh, Definitely for me, there are some things I had to learn and understand about where I came from in order to make peace with them. Yeah, and in terms of making peace with the past, so you are who you are now. Okay, all of the past is your past self. When you know better about certain things, you can then do different actions thereafter. So you shouldn't bug yourself about things that you can't change because this will dig at your self confidence. There's nothing that we can do about certain things. That's a really hard fact to level with sometimes, but there's nothing we can do about certain things. So leaving it there is best for your peace of mind, therefore for your confidence and for your love for yourself. Okay, so that's number one. Now, number two is finding your real opinions. So we grow up um, taking in all of the opinions around us, all of the cultural norms, all of the social norms, all of the things that we're fed at school or in different social settings, and they form our overall view of the world. Now, unless we start consciously thinking about why we have certain opinions, then we're going to live through that lens without ever knowing why we feel a certain way about things. So, for example, let's go with the example of the Asian girl. Okay, growing up. Now, in Asia, as many people know now, this is a really common fact, people prefer to be fair-skinned for many different reasons. I think predominantly it stems from, in the past, people who didn't have to work outside would be fair-skinned. They could afford to stay inside, so it was a display of wealth, right? And this has fed into modern times, and being fair-skinned is preferred actually in the real world by Asians in general, which is so detrimental, because then people will dislike their skin and feel less confident than they should just because of an opinion that they've been fed. Okay, when we know that's entirely wrong, that is we don't even need to go into discussion about that, because we know that's just completely absurd. Okay, now that comes from the point, find your real opinion. So it's really, really, really important that we find our own opinions, not secondhand or inherited ones. And we need to question everything that we think about ourselves. Okay, why do we think it? Who are you actually if you didn't ever hear any other opinion? What would you actually think about yourself if you didn't hear what someone else thought about something? You know, it's really important to ask yourself that, and to ask yourself what your true opinions are. Would you judge someone else because of something that you judge yourself for? The likelihood is probably not, because you're a good person, you know? So question why you care what others think, and question what you think. And this gives you such strength in yourself. It gives you confidence, not only in who you are, but also in how you go about the world. You know, for example, going back to the example about being fair skinned, if that person who grew up with that mentality, oh, I need to be fair skinned, questions it and thinks, no, actually, I want to play in the sun a bit. And as a result of where I'm from, my skin changes color. And that is a beautiful thing. That is a wondrous feat of nature, that our bodies can adapt to where we're from and how we're living in the world. And that's what the skin is doing. Okay, for people who live in warmer countries, their skin gets darker to protect them. That's nothing to be ashamed of. That's beautiful. That's the kind of difference that makes us beautiful, because we're all from different places, right? So yeah, it's important to find our way. Okay, now number 3 is comparison. This is something that should be obvious as well, but it can be difficult to do. People constantly compare people with each other. That means if people compare people with each other, definitely in their own minds, they're comparing people with themselves. Now, if you compare your uniqueness and your specialness with someone else's, you're going to find differences, because we're all unique. And we need to establish that we can admire beautiful things in other people without feeling inferior because we don't have those things. And vice versa, we're allowed to admire things about ourselves that may seem different than people around us, right? Comparison is really, really the thief of joy. It is such a dirty thief. Seriously, if you try to eliminate that, your heart is instantly lightened, and it takes away things like niggling jealousy. You know, you might see someone who has something that you like, or has a feature that you want, or that you think is nice. And if you eliminate comparison and really exercise that muscle, no comparing, we're all different. And that's a really wonderful thing. And we can admire each other without tearing each other down, or, you know, wanting to change things about ourselves or each other. Surely that's possible. And it is possible, because I feel that. I really, really feel that to admire other people instead of comparing them to you is such a liberating feeling, and it directly contributes to your self-confidence. I promise you. I absolutely promise you. Yeah. And that's comparing positively and negatively. So making fun of people, I feel people that make fun of other people's looks definitely give themselves a hard time. So they give others a hard time, they give themselves a hard time, and that depletes self-confidence completely. That depletes self-love, that depletes love in the world, and exercising love, I feel, comes out in your face, you know? So comparison, eliminate that shit. Right. Number 4 is so important. Right. Just a pause. But the importance of this is we have to talk to ourselves as if we would someone we're responsible for. Often we talk to ourselves like shit inside our own heads and we don't realize it. So to be conscious of those thoughts as they're going through our head first be conscious. Are they my opinions? Where do these even stem from? Why am I thinking that? Right? To be conscious of the thoughts and then to flip them around. So to compliment yourself more, allow yourself to love yourself, give yourself that permission and talk to yourself as if you love yourself. Because do you? Do you hate yourself? You don't want to do that. The whole purpose of this video is to love yourself. So if you're here, I'm assuming that's what you want to do. And you have to talk to yourself nicely. It's a relationship. And if you talk to someone like shit constantly in a relationship, they're not going to like you. And same for yourself. You're not going to like yourself if you talk to yourself like that. Be kind to you. Right. That's number 4. 5. Boundaries. Oh, this one's really difficult. It's something I struggled with and I'm still struggling with because maybe I have too thick of a boundary now. So it went from not having enough boundary to having too much of a boundary maybe. But this is mainly to exercise evaluating how people treat you and ask yourself if you're happy with it. You have absolute permission to not interact with people that treat you like shit. And we don't need any further explanation. Set boundaries. If you are being made so unhappy by people, then you deserve to do something about it. And that's exercising love for yourself. Right. 6 is also something that I really need to work on. So it's taking care of yourself physically, eating, exercising, eating well. I mean, obviously I eat, but eating well, eating healthy and putting the effort into doing that is really hard sometimes. But yeah, in Thailand, it's easier because smoothies are godsend. But in terms of cooking and making healthy meals, I definitely need to work on that. Exercising, I would like to do more. Overall, I feel I'm a pretty active person, but I do want to start becoming more physically active. So that's something that I need to give myself and I need to work on in the relationship with myself currently. Okay. And the last one is what I've been saying this whole time is self-love is a relationship. So it requires ongoing commitment and work. Like any relationship, you need to show up for yourself. You need to treat yourself nicely. You need to think about yourself. How are you feeling? And why do you feel like that? Just like you would someone that you really, really care about. Because you should care about yourself. You are a wonderful human being and you deserve that. Okay, so that is the end of my little rant about all of the things that stay on the top of my mind about how to keep my relationship with myself in check and therefore keeping my self-love up and exercising confidence. Yeah, I know everyone's relationship with themselves is really personal and it's a different journey for us all. So I would love to hear your thoughts, your advice, things you have been through, or if you feel I've missed anything important, if you feel that there is something we could learn from, really please feel free to leave that in the talking section comments. Okay, so that's all for now. Hope to see you next time. Bye.